So how many reps should you perform if you want to gain muscle? Little furry. Like a little fur ball right now. I've been doing my YouTube channel for a while now, you know, a few years on and off. And you know, one question you get, and one question that's always debated, is how many reps should you perform in order to gain muscle, gain strength, all that kind of thing. And you know, I did one video on this, like how many repetitions should you perform, but I'll address this again because somebody asked the other day. Now, the thing is, with gaining muscle, you have to gain strength. Strength and muscle, they do go hand in hand to a point. Otherwise, all I would have to do is just this with lots of repetitions and I would gain muscle. But we know that doesn't really happen. You know, if I just use the weight of my arm or maybe a couple cotton balls or toilet paper and start doing some lateral raises or curls. 11, 12, 13, feel the burn. I better go to my heavy set, it's a little bit too late. 101, 102, 103, 104. You know, you would think that you would gain muscle if repetitions were enough, but they're actually not. Repetitions with increased strength are enough to gain muscle, okay? So, you know, why do I perform lots of repetitions now? It's not because I always do this, but it's because, you know, I've hit certain limits with strength. And when I repeatedly do, you know, 3 or 4 rep sets, what happens is my joints go as opposed to gaining muscle. So I found that it's more efficient to use higher rep ranges for a certain percentage of the time. And for me, it's around 70 to 80% depending on what type of muscle group I'm using. So what I found for me is that when I train, you know, stuff with a lot of lower back involved, you know, that it takes a lot more out of your system to do 5 rep set of squats or deadlifts than it would to do a 5 rep set of bicep curls, okay? But not just from a muscular point and not just from a nervous system point, but also from a injury risk point of view, okay? So because there are so many different joints in the spine, you know, each vertebrae is linked to another vertebrae and there's a disc in between, and there's so much more, you know, stability going on, there's also more of a risk of injury. So using excessively heavy weight can, not always, but can lead to injury. And if you repeatedly hit your threshold of weight, say you're doing like 4 rep sets or 5 rep sets or 3 rep sets, if you're always doing this and you're hitting failure, the chance of injury does go up if you're doing this all the time. Now, what I found was if I used heavy weight and I, you know, hit it 4 or 5 reps, you know, something that I felt safe doing. You know, so say I was doing heavy squats or heavy bench press and I do a 5 rep set or 4 rep set for as much as I can do, you know, heavy weight. Then I found that I got more results if I started to rep out in my successive workouts afterwards for at least a week or so. You know, so as a rule, I'd go heavy on a body part probably once a week, especially with the big compound movements. But when it comes down to squats and things, I found that if I went into the 4 rep range and 3 rep range, it was actually just too heavy for the body. It would start to actually injure me if I did that too many times. Whereas I could, you know, do really heavy weight and do 5 rep sets or 4 rep sets if I wanted to on biceps, all I wanted without an injury, you know, because there just wasn't as many joints involved in the movement. Right? So this is something you have to find out for yourself. You have to actually do your own experiment. But if you want to gain muscle and gain strength, you want to do different rep ranges. You want to hit the 5 rep range, you want to hit the 10 rep range, you want to hit the 20 rep range, and you want to be able to increase your weights with 5 reps. So say you can do 5 reps at 225. Well, eventually you want to be able to do 5 reps at 235 or 240, right? But it'll also be the same thing with lighter weight. If you can do 15 reps with 150 pounds, well, eventually you want to hit 15 reps with 170 pounds. You know, you want to be able to also go up in weight there, and that will lead to increased muscular gains. But if you are doing like, you know, a 20 rep set and then a 30 rep and then you're going up to, now you can do 50 reps with a certain exercise, you know, with a certain weight. So say you're doing 1 plate aside and you can do 20 reps one day, then you go up, you know, 2 months later you're doing 40 reps, then 3 months, you know, or 6 months down the road you can do, you know, 100 reps. You're not necessarily going to get bigger from that, because at some point you're going more into muscular endurance, which has more to do with how much energy you're using and how much energy your body can store and how efficiently it actually can start using, you know, fatty acid globalization, all that kind of stuff. You know, once you get into the high cardio type stuff like swimming and everything, you know, because you can think about it with the swimmer, they are gaining some muscle. They have some nice physiques on them. But if you're doing long distance swimming, what's happening is that there's a point to where strength isn't really the main factor. It's more about endurance. How many times can you just fire the muscle with a certain type of workload? You know, you're not firing the muscle at 100% capacity. You're firing it at 15 or 20% capacity, but for a long period of time, or 10% or even less, you know? So at that point now it becomes about how efficient can you free up energy from your fat stores, from your carbohydrate stores, from your creatine stores, you know, all that kind of stuff. At that point it becomes about energy production, and that's why you don't gain muscle mass from endurance activities like that. So doing endurance, when I'm doing rep ranges, I'm still, the set is still only lasting about 1 minute to 2 minutes. You know, and now we all know about the Tom Platzes of the world and stuff that did these unbelievable squat workouts where he was squatting for like 5-10 minutes at a time, you know, straight. But the thing is that he was still doing the heavyweight too. So once again, he was able to do those high rep sets because he was also doing the heavyweight as well, right? So you combine the two, you're always pushing yourself to a threshold. But in every bodybuilder's career, at some point they'll realize that if I keep on just raising the weight every workout, you start to go down in reps. 2, you start to always be stalled. It's almost like you're at a plateau. You're never actually getting stronger even though you're using the heavy weight. And 3, you notice that your joints start to take more the beating than actually the muscles. So for me, it came down to the fact that I had to change the way I trained because my joints were telling me, hey, this isn't working. By going heavy all the time, you're not only not getting stronger, not getting results, but you're actually getting injured. So by accident, I actually stumbled across doing higher reps with, you know, heavy weight the odd day. That was what was responsible for increasing my muscle mass gains. So I hope that helps you out, and thanks for watching, and take care for now.